How to create an online course step by step? It's not as difficult as you could think, but the process deserves the proper attention. Since there is a lot to cover on how to create a video course, I'll divide this step-by-step guide into 3 videos minimum. Keep in mind that I won't talk about how to sell an online course because it is an entirely different topic and requires different strategies and approaches. In addition, I take for granted that you had already chosen the online course subject. By the way, the information I'm going to share in this video will help you have a clear idea of the exact steps you should follow in the entire creation process. For the purpose of this video, I want to touch 2 different topics and precisely Step 1. How to plan your online course, and Step 2, which tools you can use to craft it. Let's immerse ourselves in this fantastic creative process. Step number 1. How to plan your online course. In this section, I want you to pay attention to 2 most important questions that you need to ask yourself before creating a single piece of content. Question number 1. What is the end goal that your client has to accomplish at the end of the course? If you want to create the perfect course, you absolutely have to understand where you want to take your client. I mean, say, what he needs to know, information and skills, at the end of the online course. It is extremely important that you have in mind the final destination in order to create the right path for your client. Question number 2. What is the path you want your client to accomplish? This question is different from the previous one. Indeed, now we are focusing on the path and the various stages that your client has to complete in order to proceed toward the end goal. Let me give you an example to contextualize this process. Suppose you want to sell an online training on how to create a website with WordPress, for instance. In that case, you have to think about the information you need to share in order to create a website, the end goal, and in this specific case, how to use WordPress platform as if you didn't know anything about it. I suggest you to do a sort of brainstorming by writing some ideas and then put them in the correct order. In this specific case, you should teach all these topics. How to buy a domain name, how to install a blog, how to create a database, how to create a page and an article, how to set up the most important tools like WordPress plugins, how to configure a menu, and so on and so on. Keep in mind that I have been using WordPress since 2008 and I taught people how to use it for 6 years. So for me, it's very easy to identify what to include in this online course. I want to share with you one of the most important aspects to keep in mind when creating an online course. Share your knowledge as if you were teaching it to a child. This is essential and crucial at the same time. Do not use difficult words, but the basic ones. If, for the purpose of what you will explain, you need to use technical words, be wise to explain the meaning of these words before using them. Don't give for granted that your audience knows everything you mention. It is extremely important. To continue speaking about Step 1, how to plan an online course, I want to share with you how to organize your planning. First of all, I take for granted that you have the knowledge to speak about the specific topic you want to share, obviously. My suggestion is to write the basic steps that you want to include in your online course. You can use a piece of paper or a text file on your PC. By doing this process, you will determine the main section of your course. This is exactly what I have done before. Once you have brainstormed the main topics of your content, put them in the correct sequence, and now you can define what to include in each section of your course. Try thinking in terms of logical and sequential steps that you would like to know in order to learn that specific skill or topic you want to teach. Keep in mind that the sequence in which you share your information and knowledge is critical to your course's success. If you want to avoid refunds and complaints about your clients, you need to structure the course correctly to make its comprehension fast and easy. The more you are aware of what you are sharing and the sequence of information you are providing to your clients, the faster will be your recording sessions, the happier your client will be. It's a win-win situation. Let's continue to step number 2 of this video guide. Which tools you can use to craft your online video course. Before examining the tools you can use to record your online course, you need to be aware of the different possibilities available. For instance, you have to decide if you want to speak in front of a camera or if you want to use only slides, for example, in which adding your voice. To be honest, I prefer using both of them for different reasons. By watching an online course, keep in mind that your client is establishing a relationship with you. So, the best thing for you is to always be willing to show your face. To be honest, I normally use both camera recordings and slide presentations, and then I mix them up. If you want to sell a how-to-do training in which you explain how to use a software, as in my case with WordPress training, you can consider using a camera to show your face while explaining the technical stuff, even if it isn't crucial. These are my personal suggestions. Now, let's continue by speaking about the tools you can use. For sure, if you want to speak in front of a camera, as I'm doing right now, you need a camera. Obviously. Please do not spend too much money for a super cool camera. It doesn't make any sense. In this video, I don't want to talk about the different types of cameras available on the market, but I suggest you invest no more than $800 USD. For instance, now I'm using a vlog camera, Sony ZV-1, that is very small and can be used to take nice photos and videos. For this camera, I invested only $650 USD, and it's amazing. And consider using a smartphone from the beginning if you don't want to invest a penny on a camera. Instead, invest some money on the microphone because audio is crucial more than the video quality. At the moment, I'm using a professional headset microphone, and I have invested a lot of money for this one. Probably I'll switch it with another microphone for the desk, the one that lots of YouTubers are still using. I'll dive deep on how to record a video with a camera in another episode. At the moment, I want to focus on other software tools you need. The first one is Camtasia, the king of video screen recording software. Camtasia allows you to record the screen of your PC and your voice simultaneously. In other words, all the tutorials that you find on YouTube have been made with Camtasia or similar software. I suggest using Camtasia because I have been using this software since 2006 and I love it. It's amazing. If you want to create some slides, you need to understand how to use a software to create slide presentations like Keynote for Apple users or PowerPoint for Windows users. Now I have a disclaimer. I'm not a fan of Windows and at the same time I'm not paid to sponsor Apple products. But if you want to be more productive and have access to easy tools, you should absolutely use Apple computers. No more to add, it's your choice. You can also use mind map software. You can create a mind map to explain concepts you want to share. It's a great tool and I use the maps lots of time. A mind map helps you organize the content in sequence. You can allow your client to download the map in order to have a resume of the main concepts you have just shared in the video. The sky is the limit. Most probably you are wondering, Max, how can I create an online course with mind maps or slides? The answer is simple. Once you have created the slides and the maps, you can use Camtasia, screen recording software, to comment on the slides or the maps with your voice while recording your entire screen. It's like doing a live presentation with slides while you are expressing your thoughts on the content your audience is viewing. Easy to understand. On the flip side, if you are recording with your camera, then you can edit your video with a great software named Final Cut. Once again, I'm using Apple tools, but you can find different video editing softwares for Windows as well. I have just mentioned Final Cut because it's very easy to use and you can do miracles in post-production with a few easy clicks. In addition, keep in mind that you can create a unique video with you speaking in front of a camera and adding slides that you have previously recorded with Camtasia. Put into practice what I have just said because it's not so difficult. If you plan to use a camera as the primary source for sharing your knowledge, you can record the entire video with the camera first, then you should continue the editing process with Final Cut, for example. Once you have created your entire video with the camera, you can decide which parts of this video you would like to add a slide to explain the concept you are sharing with visual elements. Then you can create the slides, record them with Camtasia, and in this specific case without using your voice because you had already registered the main video with the camera, and put the video slides on Final Cut. Believe me, it's easier to see how the process works with a video tutorial than explain it. The possibilities are endless. Let me point out that this is not a video training on how to use these softwares. On YouTube, you can find a lot of training on Camtasia or Final Cut, but if you would like me to do a video tutorial for you, leave a comment below this video or ask me anything you want. For this video, I think is enough. I'll continue with the same topic in the second part of this video, in which I want to give you additional information for recording your video. I'm thinking of creating content on how to speak in front of a camera because there is different information you need to know. If you find the information I shared valuable, or if you think this information can help other people, feel free to share the video with anyone you want. It's a pleasure for me. And do not forget to subscribe to my channel. And please let me know your point of view by leaving a comment below this video. Keep in touch in the next episode.